Okay, good evening, everybody. This is very loud, sorry. Good evening, you guys all right? Awesome. Hey, so I'm John Partade. I am the Chief Customer Officer for PCS Software. We help carriers optimize their operations with our TMS, powered by Cortex AI, to automate and streamline decision making. With me today, I've got Jason Douglas from VCS, and I've got Moe Saleh from Greatway. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Jason?
Yeah, I'm Jason Douglas. I've been with PCS for about 5 months, spending my prior 18 years on the asset-based carrier side. Everything from dispatcher to vice president of operations. So I bring a carrier aspect to PCS, and I'm vice president of community and engagement, bringing in that ecosystem to our TMS.
Awesome. Jason, great to have you. Mo?
Thank you for having me, guys. My name is Moe Saleh. I'm the president and CEO of Greatway Transportation. We're an asset-based 3PL provider out of Romulus, Michigan. Thank you for having us.
Great to be here. Thank you, guys. So here's the reality. Your team could be running flat out, dispatchers slam, drivers moving freight, operations grinding 24/7. Still not moving the needle on profit, right? And being busy is not the same as being productive, and that's why we're here today. Today we're going to tackle just how real gains come from being more efficient in our operation. And our goal today is for you guys to walk away with a clear way to evaluate your work, separate the noise from what actually drives efficiency, and improve capacity so it impacts your bottom line. So we're going to jump in today. Bo, I want to start with you if that's okay.
Of course.
We talked about how busy work does not necessarily mean we're productive. We've all got the same 24 hours in a day. Where does time disappear in the operation and it just doesn't feel worth it?
Yeah, so as you guys all know, in the transportation logistics world, every day you walk into the office and it's a busy day. You're in there grinding, moving around, helping customers, helping drivers, helping your staff. It can get overwhelming sometimes. And how you manage your time and how efficient your time can be is crucial to the success of your business and the success of your operation. So like you said, how can we get more efficient with our time? Well, to get more in depth with that, you always got to make sure you have the right tools in place, the right personnel in place, such as a good TMS system, such as PCS, and a good team that you can rely on, that you can pass on tasks to so they can be more efficient, help you do your job, help you meet your end goal, help you know exactly what direction you need to go in and what direction they need to go in. So a common goal in place with your staff and your team can tremendously help your time to be more efficient in operations.
That's awesome. Thank you. Jason, let's talk a little bit about the kind of work that may feel right, but it really doesn't pay off. It really doesn't move the needle. What work looks productive on paper, but does not actually move your business forward?
One of the big things that Mo just touched on was having the right people in the right seats. If you have the wrong people that, tend to answer the phone and are on the phone way too long, and their phone calls are always an hour, whatever it may be, or the wrong person answering their phone, their time gets sucked into that big time. And then billing and tracking down detention, if you're an asset-based carrier or even getting detention from a broker, you can try for a couple months sometimes before you even get paid. So having the manual work on there is a big time sucker.
Yeah, absolutely. Mo, you run a successful 500 plus truck operation. I'd like to discuss the inefficiencies that maybe don't hurt you on a smaller scale, but can cripple you as you grow if you're not ready for it.
Yeah, of course. So in the trucking logistics operation, we get complacent with doing the day in and day out work. When you're on a smaller scale level, those are things that you can overcome. But as you get larger and your fleet gets more diverse and you have drivers placed all over the US and dispatchers placed all over, one of the main things that you want to be able to do is manage your margins. We're in the trucking world. Our margins are already slim, very slim. And over the past couple of years, you guys have seen they've gotten smaller and smaller. How are we managing those day-to-day operations so we can have our margins become a little bit more fluffier, they can say? Well, that comes down again to what I mentioned earlier, your staff, your operations, your process, your procedures. You want to be able to manage those, align them accordingly, and cut the small cost out that's going to add up. We're in the penny business. we got to be able to count our pennies, manage them, so we can add more to them. From your maintenance side, from your driver side, your out or out miles, your fuel consumption, down to how you're dispatching. Having the right drivers on the right lanes, having the right equipment on the right lanes, there's many variables that play in. So you can come in to work and be busy, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to be efficient and manage how you're running your operations.
Yeah. Jason, you want to answer that at all?
Yeah, one thing that you nailed is having the right drivers on the right lanes. You can have a guy or a driver and you put them on a Texas lane and they're always late. But if you put them on California, they make it every time. So really diving into your drivers and hiring the right people for the work that you do is huge at a scale.
Yep.
Absolutely. Jason, we all know that problems aren't just operational, and if not corrected, they eventually become a leadership issue. So where do leaders accidentally become the bottleneck without realizing it in their operation?
Putting their nose where it doesn't belong. I say that as a joke, but sometimes it's once again to what Mo said of hiring the right people, right? So if you trust everybody on your boots on the ground, then you can build on them, and then that goes to leadership. So Mo building his operation, he trusts his boots on the ground. They have to be solid. They have to believe in your morals and hold on everything that you're doing. And if there's any break in that, it can be very detrimental. And that's probably the biggest play. And then if your leader doesn't understand your business, you need to have a way that you can communicate with them what's working, what's not. Then they can get involved. But you have to be empowered. You have to empower your employees to handle the issues that come to them. You're experts that work under you.
Mo, anything to add to that? Where do leaders accidentally become the bottleneck?
Well, Jason hit the nail on the head with that one. But it's having the right team in place and having a team that you've trained as well to meet your vision as an owner of a company or even an executive of a company. You want to be able to have the right operations management, the right flow of traffic within your operations. Your org chart is tremendous. And then the people that you put in there, having the trust in them, giving them the tools and the resources so they can actually do their job without them relying on you coming into your office. Hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? You want to be able to lay out the groundwork for your operations team, going into your sub-management team, into your dispatchers, track and tracers, freight finders. However you have your operation structure, you want to be able to trust your management team so you don't end up in that bottleneck position where you're steering the boat and rowing the boat at the same time.
Yeah. Sometimes the biggest gains don't come from adding work, but actually stopping the work, right? And that's an equal decision. What were the hardest habits to stop doing, but ended up freeing up the most time for you to focus?
The hardest habit was actually letting go of operations.
Okay.
Now, when I say letting go, it doesn't mean that you just take your hands off it, but you trust your team, your operations management, to come in and do the job that you would do starting out in the business. As you get larger, you want to free up your time to manage the business and grow the business. At the end of the day, as a CEO or executive of the company, you're meeting with your customers, you're providing the service necessary, but you also got to keep an eye on the service and the operations to make sure when you go sit with a customer, you know what you're talking about. You don't want to go in there and sit with a customer and you just had a failed load and you look like a fool in front of them, but you want to be able to speak on your operations in a more educational manner. So letting go a little bit and trusting your team, hiring the right people in place and giving them the right tools and resources so they can do their job.
Infrastructure, people, and trust.
Absolutely.
100%.
It's awesome. So I actually want to ask both of you guys this question, and Mo, I'll start with you if that's okay, since we just into there. What's the real cost of staying busy instead of getting better?
Like I said earlier, we get into that grind of the day in and day out operations. Managing your operations so you can slim the expenses down. That's the biggest thing that we have to do as a transportation provider, is managing those expenses. And it's easier said than done, but you have to go into each and every department that you have, from, like I said, your maintenance department to your drivers, your onboarding, your insurance as well. Then you go into your fuel and how your fuel's consumption's happening. There's so many steps, but you've got to be able to tackle each and one of those departments so you can manage your operations and slim down your costs.
Thank you. Jason, same thing for you. What's the real cost of staying busy instead of getting better?
That's a great question. I think that's a great, that's a great question. Um, One thing that's really toxic about staying busy is drives me crazy over the last 20 years. If you go into Home Depot and you ask, where is the plywood at? And they go, I don't know, I think it's back in aisle 19, and they turn and walk away. Back in the day, they used to walk you back there. So people being busy don't have time for your customers. They don't have time for the little things. They don't have time for the drivers. So when they start asking questions, they get left in the dust. When all of a sudden they're too busy to help your drivers. They're too busy to check on a load. They're too busy to go check out something. So being busy makes all your players inefficient, and I think customer service is what suffers.
Yeah, possibly. So I want to ask you both now, Jason, we'll start with you. If a carrier here fixed just one habit in the next 30 days, what would you suggest?
Probably looking at your mundane processes, and going back. One thing that I would do immediately, if you haven't done, is write job descriptions for people in your organization. Find out if you have the right people in the ship rowing the right direction, and really buckle down on who's on your team, who's just there for a job to work from 9 to 5, and who's there to help the company grow and grow as a person and grow with your organization. Sometimes when it only takes one bad apple to make everybody a little bit lazier. But on that same point, if you have one really good apple, it can elevate everybody else's game. So I would say take a look at that, and then make sure that you have a job description for everybody in your company.
Thanks, Jason. Mel, I'm going to turn it over to you on that one. If a carrier here fixed just one habit in the next 30 days to address inefficiency, what should it be?
Well, the number one thing is don't get complacent. Get with the times as well. As you guys know, we had COVID 6-7 years ago, not that long ago. And there's a lot of operational inefficiencies that we were able to identify. And then we had pretty much the trucking rush, or you can say the gold rush in trucking. Well, that simmered down over the past couple years. And again, that had more inefficiencies that we had to find within our operation. So the companies that stayed complacent, that didn't get with the times, that didn't make the proper adjustments, those are the ones that got affected the most. So best thing to do is make sure that your operations is always staying ahead of the game, finding out where your inefficiencies are, adjusting those inefficiencies, and also your culture at the end of the day. One of the biggest things that we see with transportation companies and partners of ours that I've worked with in the past, that is the culture. Make sure your staff and your team members understand what culture you have. What's the end goal? What's the result that you're looking for? Getting your team on board and finding your inefficiencies. If you can tackle those two things, possibilities are endless.
That's great. Jason?
I just wanted to add to that is culture. Culture is how your employees feel on Sunday night, right before the week of Monday. If they want to throw up or call in sick, your culture's not very good. And also your culture's only as strong as your weakest link. So if you have somebody that's always trying to get people to show up late, or somebody that shows up late all the time, you might not know it, but there's 4 other people that watch it happen every day and go unpunished. So it not that you need to crack down on everybody, but really making sure that you have a winning culture where people feel comfortable to do the work and empowered to do the work.
Absolutely. Thank you both. Do we have time for a question? If there's any questions out there?
You might have to you grab a microphone real quick.
Take them against my Shiro.
Sure.
Awesome.
Age, it seems to be a big disparity. You got 15, 60-year-olds that do a great job, they work forever. But the millennials, 20, 30-year-olds, the interface is like constant conflict. And it's easier for the millennials to back up and let the other person do all the work. But that doesn't benefit, they don't move forward. And that seems to be the biggest challenge. How can you get them to understand it's a job? It's a way of life.
Mo, you want to take that first?
Yes, actually, as you're saying that, I'm standing up here laughing and smiling about that, because we run into that every single day. Not a lot of people right now, the new generation, understand that the old heads in this business know what they're doing. They might not be 100% computer inclined like the new generation is, but transportation is not just about the technology. Technology is just a tool that we have to make our jobs a little bit easier. But transportation is all about knowledge and understanding, having a logistics mindset. I always tell my staff, have your dispatch ears on while you're in the office. What you just said, from the old generation to the new generation, getting them to understand. If I had a magic 8 ball that can give me those answers, I would be in a lot better shape right now. But what you brought up is one of the biggest issues that I'm experiencing at my company, is bringing on new generation. And some of these people come on board with a logistics degree or a supply chain degree, which is fine. I mean, that's what you learn in the class. But when you actually get into a trucking company or a logistics company and you're behind that desk and you're on the phone and you get your first customer ready to chew you up and down, how are you going to handle that? That's where the old school comes in. They're like, give me that phone, let me handle this. Sweet talk them, get them to understand and getting that trust back into play to say, hey, we're going to handle this for you. But that new generation, old generation, right now, there is a little bit of friction, and we're trying to mold that so they can all blend in together. But absolutely, there's definitely a gap. And how we're going to do that? Well, again, that goes back to the culture. Having a good team in place that can take the old school knowledge and the new school knowledge and combine them together to give your customer the best outcome.
Thank you, Mo. Got another question back here?
Yeah, you had mentioned some of the variables that come into play to be culturable. How has PCS helped, simplify some of those variables?
Efficiency. PCS provides that efficiency. Also saving on some of the dispatch time. Like we mentioned in this discussion today, is how are you going to get more efficient without being as busy? PCS comes in and does help that. They actually provide the tools to make sure that your reporting is done on time, accurately. But of course, every single software that you have, it's how much data you put into it for the right amount of information. PCS gives you that simplicity from a TMS standpoint that can give you that information. It's easy for the old school and the new school to get in and learn it without too much downtime.
Jason?
I was just going to add on the question before the gentleman asked right here about the younger generation. I'm in the middle of both of them. And what's been successful for me is to bring them together and find a way to conform towards one common goal. Let the old guy teach the young guy a little bit, then let the young guy, and they got to be able to accept it, listen to it, understand that that's their perspective and that's their perspective. They're never going to see eye to eye, but they both have winning solutions. Right. So find the best outcome and work together for that if they're not really bought in there.
That's great. Jason, Mo, thank you both today. The big takeaway here isn't about doing more. It's about being honest about where time, energy, and focus get wasted. Only then, when we're honest about it, then we are best positioned to act on what we've learned and make a difference in our overall operation. PCS TMS exists to partner with carriers, doing the hard work of running real operations with practical insight for how fleets actually operate. If you'd like to continue that conversation, you can see we're at booth 702. And Jason and Mo, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.